Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wicked Weird with New England Queenie. I'm New England Queenie. As someone who was born and raised here in New England, I grew up with the rumors and stories surrounding some famous UFO sightings and at least one very famous abduction. The Betty and Barney Hill story was the first documented case of the abduction of humans by extraterrestrials in 1961, and it happened roughly an hour away from where I grew up. I was never surprised by the story because this part of the world has a history of several types of mysterious occurrences in every state in New England. The area is steeped in supernatural activity and wells over with out-of-this-world events. Maybe these extraterrestrial events are the reason the United States Space Force has a base right in New Boston, New Hampshire. How and why some people are taken is a question we still don't know the answer to. There are rumors of a treaty between President Eisenhower and extraterrestrials exchanging access to Americans for weapons and technology, which would keep the United States at the top of all other nations with military defenses. But why are only certain people reporting abductions? Well, in spite of Rh-negative blood types making up only 7% to 15% of the world's population, depending on which source you believe, the percentage of alien abductees with Rh-negative blood is staggeringly high. When I have watched the panels with experts in the field of ufology, most of the attendees who posed questions to or shared experiences with the panel stated their blood types as Rh-negative. With such a large percentage of abductions related to Rh-negative blood, it isn't difficult to understand why theorists may believe this particular blood could be an indication of extraterrestrial intervention in the evolution of humans. The story of Rh-negative blood is a curious one. Before the existence of this type of blood, all blood was Rh positive. It is not a mutation. Rhesus factor, referred to as the Rh factor, is a protein in the human blood. The term is derived due to the first discovery of the protein substance in the blood of rhesus monkeys by Landsteiner and Wiener in 1940. The fact that so many people lack this factor is a puzzling phenomenon that tends to defy the evolution theory that we as a species originated from the same ancestors. It just doesn't make sense that this protein is missing when it is something inherited genetically from our parents. It gets even more complicated when a mother who is Rh-negative has a child with a man who is Rh positive. The mother's body recognizes the child as invasive if the blood of the fetus is Rh positive like the father. She builds up antibodies in her blood, which can result in a reaction against the pregnancy and may lead to death. So what do doctors do when they have an Rh-negative mother who is possibly having an Rh positive baby? They give the mother a Rogum shot to protect the child from this antibody buildup. Because the positive Rh factor is dominant, it is more prevalent in humans. It is unusual for a mother and father to have all Rh-negative children when one parent is Rh positive. Lacking the Rh factor can present serious problems when a patient is in need of a blood transfusion or organ transplant. As much as Rh-negative blood is rare, there are some types that are more prevalent than others. O-negative blood is found most often, followed by A-negative, B-negative, and AB-negative, respectively. When did Rh-negative blood show up in the human race? All we really know is our ancestors were originally all Rh positive, and at some point Rh-negative showed up. Some scientists believe they know where this came from, and the theory is something wicked weird. According to Darwin and the theory of evolution, Homo sapiens sapien, also known as humans, descended from primates. We should all have this protein in our blood if we all came from the same evolutionary branch. Why would some of us not have this protein? Are you Rh-negative? If your answer is yes, then you should listen up. Take a deep breath, buckle up, and get ready because I'm about to drop a brain bomb that's going to blow your mind. Rh-negative blood seems to be linked to specific tribes and groups. Scientists seem to have agreed it showed up about 35,000 years ago. The rarity of this blood type hits hard when you break it down by race. 1% of the Asian population is Rh-negative. African American Rh-negative population is 3%. Europeans have the highest percentage of Rh-negative blood type. There doesn't seem to be much more associated with the blood type when it comes to traits. Some scientists believe those who have this blood type show a natural immunity to certain deadly diseases and similar physical traits, such as lighter eye colors. They are prone to having a higher IQ, green or blue eyes, red hair, sensitivity to heat, are physically and emotionally more aware and have a lower body temperature than Rh-positive people. So how did this rare blood type develop in humans? Did they evolve from a different species on the planet? Well, that was what scientists initially believed. It seems like an easy answer, except there isn't any evidence of this blood type existing in any of our ancestor species. Scientists are now posing questions like, if Rh-negative blood came from another species, was that species put here by someone else? Was Homo sapiens sapien genetically altered by someone else? Who is this someone else that could have done this? The answer to these questions is shocking and hits hard. Could Rh-negative blood come from an alien race? Yes, you heard that correctly. Many believe Rh-negative blood is a trait of extraterrestrials. It isn't as crazy as it may sound, either. Evidence is everywhere for this to be a possibility, right down to biblical passages, Mayan texts, Egyptian hieroglyphics, Native American stories of the Star People, and Babylonian tales. The Bible speaks of angels called Nephilim coming to Earth and having children with human women. The Mayan have carvings in stone of what appears to be beings in spaceships. There are images of flying machines and chimeras on Egyptian structures. Native Americans believe they are descended from Star People. And in ancient Babylon, the Anunnaki are believed to have engineered humans and called them the children of the Anunnaki. There isn't any physical proof to the claims, but puzzle pieces seem to fit when you start to put them together. Now, back to abductions. Considering how few humans have this blood type, it is a bit suspicious that so many abductees have Rh-negative blood. It doesn't make sense mathematically that so many who report alien abduction or even repeated UFO sightings would be Rh-negative. Could the small population of Rh-negative humans be the descendants of the Nephilim human hybrids who survived the Great Flood? Are the progenitors of this group keeping watch over their hybrids? The highest concentration of Rh-negative blood is within the Basque population in the Pyrenees Mountains. The Basque country is located in Spain, and although located in this country, they speak a language that is unlike any other in that part of the world. Are these people the closest thing we have to an alien race living on Earth? Have you started to put together some of the pieces of this puzzle yet? Are you feeling an odd similarity in your own family history somehow that may connect some dots for you? If you're Rh-negative, your mind could be processing an awful lot of information right now and connecting dots you never knew existed before. It is easy to connect the reason why so many Rh-negative humans would be abductees if they may be part extraterrestrial in ancestry. It would be important to the aliens to keep their descendants under their supervision while not interfering with their attempt to blend into society on Earth. I have talked about multiple extraterrestrial races previously in an episode of this podcast and how there are humans throughout the universe. With so many human and humanoid races dotted throughout, it is possible we wouldn't be able to distinguish if certain extraterrestrial races were living here among us. These people may not even know they are not originally from this planet. If you have Rh-negative blood, you may even be one of them. How would you know if you had been abducted? Not all cases are as obvious as Betty and Barney Hill, and it should be noted they were unaware of their own abduction until seeking help for recurring nightmares that began after their UFO sighting. Not everyone may acknowledge craft flying over them nowadays, especially with drone light shows that can easily imitate lights from a UFO. A list of signs that may indicate you are an abductee can be pulled together since most abductees share indicators of abduction. I have compiled a list of what may indicate if you may be an abductee. 1. Missing time. It can occur under different circumstances. You may be driving and notice that a trip may seem like it has only taken minutes when in fact it has been hours since you left. You may be in your home doing something as mundane as a simple chore when you realize several hours passed, but it felt like you had just started. There are many scenarios, but they all have one thing in common. They all are missing a chunk of time that you know is not right. 2. Sudden constant anxiety. This is a feeling of needing to be ready to go at any second. It is a feeling of needing to be ready to run away from something or someone. Some abductees find great instability in their living situation after abductions and move from place to place in a subconscious effort to hide from their abductors. 3. Hearing weird noises when trying to sleep. These can be like chittering and chatting noises. Sometimes they are machine buzzing or ringing noises. No one knows what these are, but it is believed these are traumatic memories of the beginning or end of an abduction experience surfacing. It may be the sounds heard that the ship made or the noise of the beings attempting to communicate with the abductee. 4. Appearance of unusual marks or bruises. Many abductees report odd-shaped marks on their bodies in geometric shapes or patterns. Some have bruising consistent with a struggle, though no memory of either is apparent. They will often play it off as something minor they must have caused while not paying attention. There is no natural explanation for geometric shapes to appear on the body, either as bruising or a scoop mark, when eliminating the possibility of someone physically placing them there with purpose. 5. Waking up somewhere you didn't fall asleep. This can be very disturbing. Imagine sitting in your favorite chair watching your favorite show after dinner one night, and the next thing you know you are in your bed laying on top of all the blankets. How much weirder would it be if your head was at the foot of the bed? Things completely nonsensical to us that would stand out as odd are frequent occurrences. This is a reality for many abductees. Some find themselves in even stranger places, like in cars miles from where they last remember being awake, or outside of their homes on the lawn. Even more strange, clothing can be on backwards, inside out, or even completely different than what they had on before. Imagine waking up in a dress and pants in your bed when what felt like moments before you had been wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. 6. Intense nightmares and insomnia. Betty and Barney Hill both suffered from intense nightmares after their abduction. These nightmares are what drove them to seek help. Only after being hypnotically regressed to treat these nightmares was it realized both of them had very similar nightmares, and they were very possibly memories of a shared experience that had left them with a type of post-traumatic stress. Some abductees have recurring nightmares of beings with large black eyes. Some claim to dream of owls, and it is believed these images of owls are the brain trying to make sense of the gray aliens being seen. These dreams are disturbing regardless of the images of aliens or owls and will lead to paranoia and fear of more events happening. The abductee is afraid to seek help out of embarrassment and feeling judged by others in public. These constant nightmares will almost always lead to insomnia and withdrawal of the abductee from friends and family. 7. Weird effects on electrical equipment. Ever see someone walking down a street at night and the streetlights go out as they walk under them? Or they have a lot of difficulty with electronics acting up when they are around? Well, a really weird activity that happens around alien abductees is they often have anything that uses electricity behave strangely in their presence. Sometimes this can even cause fires. There have even been cases of a sharp increase in their electric bills as if they are suddenly using a crazy amount of energy without any reason behind it. A lot of abductees will also hear strange constant buzzing sounds in their ears. Sometimes this buzzing gets worse at the same time this weird electrical interference is happening, leading to the question of whether the two may be connected. 8. Suddenly seeing shadow people or paranormal activity. This one really surprised me. Apparently, the connection between paranormal experiences and alien abduction is more common than you would expect. Strangely enough, many alien abductees report seeing shadow people in their homes. They appear exactly as a shadow of a person moving through the room on the walls. They always seem to be just in the corner of your eye and last seconds, but it is just enough to cause distress to the person witnessing the events. Is it possible these shadow figures are actually alien entities using cloaking technology to observe the abductee? Could they be interdimensional beings moving in and out of our reality and not actually from another world? Shadow people aren't the only paranormal event witnessed by abductees. Often strange mists or quick-forming fogs manifest out of nothing. Skeptics are quick to dismiss this, however, even when witnesses have managed to catch these creatures in photographs or video. 9. Waking up with psychic or telepathic abilities that weren't there before. One of the hardest things for some abductees to understand is the sudden development of the ability to see the future. Theories abound on the reason for the psychic abilities to suddenly appear. Some believe these are latent abilities that are dormant in all of us and are awakened by the aliens during a procedure to allow the communication between abductees and their alien contacts. Many abductees also develop empathy for those around them and appreciation of the planet we live on. They may have feelings of impending doom of the planet through activities of the human race and the need to save the planet. They may develop a deeper understanding of the universe and feel an intense connection to something bigger than themselves. They may feel like they're out of place and no longer relate to the people around them. Some abductees feel like this life is just a temporary situation and they've lived many times before, or quite possibly, they may have lived as something else before. 10. Unexplained foreign objects implanted in the body. These beings are tracking their abductees. Implants have been found in various parts of abductees' bodies. Many have awakened in the morning with unexplained nosebleeds following an event and have later found some kind of object was inside their nose while having a medical procedure. Sometimes these implants will fall out on their own if they had been in the nose. Other abductees have found what feels like a BB in an earlobe or just behind an ear. Other odd places for implants are found include in teeth, between fingers or toes, and in random extremities like calf muscles or wrists. In some cases, there have been attempts to remove implants surgically, but they seem to move away and end up deeper in the body as if trying to escape removal. When they are successfully removed, they sometimes have disintegrated shortly after or have been analyzed to find they are made up of complex metals which seem to be giving off a radio signal. These devices are surrounded with some kind of biological material that prevents the implant from being rejected by the abductee. It does appear these beings are tracking family bloodlines for generations. Many of these are H-negative and repeatedly abducting them throughout their lives. By now you may be wondering what an abduction may be like, or if you may be finding some of this familiar. You may be wondering if you may be an abductee because you relate to a lot of what I've said so far. I think it might be time to walk you through what an abduction could possibly be like and give you an idea of what abductees may be going through. I want you to stop what you are doing for a moment and really listen to this next part. It is important to the community who is experiencing abduction to have a voice even as they hide from persecution. You are lying in bed, ready to go to sleep. You begin to drift off and dream of something like front row seats to your favorite band, or maybe a trip to an exotic tropical island. Suddenly you are awakened from this dream. As disappointed as you may be, you realize something is off with this situation. Why can't you move? You open your eyes and your adrenaline starts to pump. There is something wrong. You can move your eyes and look around wondering if you had a medical event that may have caused this. You try to call out for help or maybe try to move your arm and wake your partner, if you have one, but no matter what you try to do, you can't move or speak. That is when you see them. 3 small gray beings, about 4 feet tall, standing by your bed. 2 are to your left and 1 is at the foot of your bed. Fear overtakes you and then suddenly, you hear a voice that isn't yours speak to you inside your head. It tells you not to be afraid. They aren't there to hurt you. You realize somehow they are calming you and none of this is in your control. It isn't a dream because you keep trying to wake up and they are still there. You can't fight and you start to feel your body lift. You can't believe any of this and you start to float above the bed towards the window. The window is closed, but it doesn't make a difference. You pass through it like you are passing through water. Once outside, you are bathed in a bright blue-white light coming from the sky above you. You can feel the leaves of the tree in your yard brush against your hands as you rise up toward the light. Is that a ship? Oh my God! It's a ship! They are taking you away and you don't know if you will ever see your family again. In a flash, it is morning. You are back in bed and you wonder if it was all a dream. There are traces of blood on the pillowcase, and you reach for a tissue to wipe the bit of blood still coming from your nose. You are confused. Was it a dream? You are left with vivid memories of being taken by these little gray aliens, but nothing of what may have happened once you were aboard the ship. You convince yourself it had to be a dream, but the experience eats away at your reality. Why would you remember that dream so vividly when you usually forget most of your other dreams the moment you wake up? Following the incident, you begin to have irrational fears and feel different around your friends and family. Something isn't right, and you begin to notice changes that seem to mirror the checklist that you found about abductees. You are having fears of darkness and anxiety when trying to sleep. You want to seek help, but you are afraid people will think you are insane when you tell them what happened. You feel shame and fear, but need to talk to someone because you need to find a way to get past it. Unfortunately, The feeling of being powerless to protect yourself against these beings is overwhelming, and as time marches on, you begin to have more and more events that cannot be ignored. Nightmares plague your sleep. You start to wonder if they are nightmares or if this is really happening. You finally realize you can't do anything to stop what is happening to you and seek out others who have had the same experiences so you can talk about them. Nothing can take away your intense fear of being unable to prevent being taken, and now you have to hide the terror you feel every single night. There are many variations of how an abduction scenario can go. This was just one example. You could be taken while driving, like how the Hills were abducted. You could be taken from your home or from your front yard. It really doesn't matter how, and what is important is that we listen to these abductees and offer them an open and comfortable place to share their experiences. That is all we have time for tonight. I hope this episode has opened your mind and heart to those who have experienced alien abduction. Maybe you have discovered you might possibly be an abductee yourself. If you have experienced what you believe is alien abduction, then I would love to hear your story. As always, if you choose to share your story, we will not use your name, image, or real voice if you choose to remain anonymous. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wicked Weird with New England Queenie. If you have a wicked weird story you would like to share, email us at wickedweirdpodcast@newenglandqueenie.com, and you could be a guest on an upcoming episode. Visit my website newenglandqueenie.com and click on shop to check out some wicked weird merchandise. We have free shipping for all purchases in the United States. Please like, share, and subscribe for more wicked weird stuff and to be alerted to new episodes when they drop. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, this is New England Queenie. Remember to keep it weird.